107,000. That's not much. So 107,000 cities is a majority white, and they're doing this with their contracts. Right now, I want to give y'all an example. Dearborn just recently discovered, the Arabs in Dearborn recently discovered that Dearborn was a majority Arab city. So what they did was install Arab mayor, Arab city council. Now, they had an intern police chief that was Arab. The current mayor just said, and they put the deputy chief as the intern chief. The mayor said he's going to search. He put him back as the deputy chief and said he's going to search nationally for a new police chief. You know what they did? Went crazy. They went crazy. They going crazy right now, ready to recall the mayor, people running for council, running for mayor against him and everything. Because the audacity say, you're going to go out, you're going to demote, look at them, you're going to demote the chief, the intern chief who from our community, and then you're going to look outside the community to find a chief to come in. And they saying, no. So what they're doing is warranted. This is the moves that we have to do within our community. You see, they moved in record speed time. It didn't take much. Record speed time. They own it already. They pushing back to they mayor. They ready to recall them. They ready to go. So I say that to say this is the response that we must have when we being invaded and our community is being robbed out of its resources. So I've been teaching for years that we supposed to be empowering ourselves through these contracts and through these grants. So what I decided to do every week is read the contracts that our city government is giving out of y'all tax money. So right here I got a contract, and I got 3 companies to provide tree and shrub planting maintenance services throughout Detroit. They all $2.5 million. I want to show y'all this. $2.5 million each one of these contracts in order to provide tree and shrub planting service. Now, my question for Detroiters, did anybody teach y'all that you can learn how to do tree planting and tree maintenance and become a millionaire? Did anybody teach you that? Nope. $7.5 million your city government is giving out outside your community to do tree and shrub planting. And we in abstract poverty in Detroit. This is lack of representation. I want to show y'all again. I got a cousin that I tagged. Cousin, I hope you listening to me right here. This contract is to provide complete office space renovation. It's for $686,000 to renovate office space. Now, people in Detroit, carpenters that live in Detroit that's been residing in Detroit all your life, could you renovate an office space for $700,000? Carpenters in Detroit, could you renovate an office space for $700,000? And people in Detroit, did anybody ever teach you that you could become a millionaire just by planting trees? Anybody teach you that? Right here's the proof. And this one day's work. So just imagine this going on 250, 275 days a year with y'all tax dollars. And then y'all can understand the robbery that's at foot. Okay, so I want to say this too. I talked about Kyra Bolden Harris, the Michigan Supreme Court Justice. And when we first started talking about Kyra Bolden Harris, I had a case before her. She is the Black Michigan Supreme Court Justice. I put a case before her, a multi-billion-dollar bond case before her, and she was hanging with the defendants in the case. I was one of the first persons that was compelled to file a judicial tenure complaint against her because that violated all kind of standards of impropriety. You literally hanging. And this ain't an event that Juris is at and she just happened to be there. This is an exclusive event hosted by the defendant, and she's the only jurist there. It's like other judges is there with her, but she's supposed to be ruling on a multi-billion-dollar bond case that's attached to poor black people houses in Detroit. These bonds is attached to our property. They can increase our property for up to 30 years at will based on these illegal bonds. So here it is. We put this case before her, showing her Billions of dollars in illegal bonds has been placed on the backs of these impoverished people, violation of the law, and she ignored it. So when we talk about DEI and we talk about blacks representation, this is what we get when we put people in those positions that's not properly experienced and vetted and didn't work hard. Now, why I say she didn't work hard, where have she tried cases at? Now, since we've been talking about it, there all kind of stuff trying to show up. Now, look at this. She graduated college with a bachelor's degree in 2010, with a bachelor's degree. She became a state rep in 2018. So she graduated with a bachelor's degree in 2010. So in 8 years, she got a law degree and was a state rep, and then she was a Michigan Supreme Court justice. What experience in the court do she have? 8 years. Now, 2010, she got a bachelor's degree from Grand Valley State. And then within the next 8 years, she's a state rep. And then so now she has to go to law school, complete law school, apply for all this stuff, and then 8 years later, she's in a state rep, and then now she's the Supreme Court justice. Most people that makes it to the highest court in the state, they either be lawyers, good attorneys, established attorneys, trial attorneys for years. Then they go to the lower court bench for years. Then they make it to the Michigan Supreme Court. She jumped all these. They say the most she ever did, this is what they say, and I question that. She fought misdemeanor cases for a minute, and she clerked. But this you worthy of being on the highest court in the state? So look at the thing. Now it's reversed. They passed over all those lawyers who was experienced, both black and white, that was experienced for her. Why did they pick her? It was a political reason. So I say that. I just wanted to clear that up. I want to get to the agenda. Let me see that agenda real quick. You got it. Okay, so I always want to read a chapter out of my book, and it's about contracts. So I want to talk about something particularly within our community. So this out the Black America Report on page 13. The understanding is very critical for the 14% black population in this country. It is essential to their development and the stopping of genocidal practice that's eroding black communities based on poverty. When you reflect on the 900 plus majority black cities, each with a budget ranging from 10 million to 10 billion each year collected from blacks, one should be concerned where all this money is going. This should shock the conscience and shed light to the mitigating factors to why our communities have not advanced economically in 6 decades. One often reflects on Italians, Irish, and Jewish mafia when referring to contracts. In the 20th century, Italians, Irish, and Jewish mafias dominated the criminal rackets in this country. Congress became fed up and enacted RICO laws to take them down and confiscate their assets. The mafia changed with the times. With the newly created RICO laws, contracts were the way of the future. The families invested in demolition, waste, construction, towing, and the rest was history. The black population are ignorant to the advantage of government contracts. We must wake up fast or poverty will continue to eat our population alive. Now, I talk about that and I use the mob as an example. In the early 1970s, the government established RICO laws to take down mafia figures. Once they established these laws, the mafia was smart. They knew that crime was over with. So they converted it into government contracts. That's why you've seen them heavy into unions, heavy into waste, heavy into demolition. And what happened with blacks when that happened? Blacks started to emulate the mob after the RICO. They started naming themselves after mob figures and emulating the mob once they knew that those rackets was over. So they moved in, got our contracts in most of the cities, and not just our cities, in all the cities, monopolized the contracts. And then blacks came in and said, we want to be like the old mob who was criminalized in RICO. See how backwards that is? So we have to wake up as a community and understand contracts is one of the most lucrative, safest, securest economic streams of the 21st century. 1,000 black cities contracting between $10 million and $10 billion each year in contracts, 1,000. Then you have a national budget that's contracting in the hundreds of billions. Then you have 52 states contracting in the billions. You have 3,200 counties contracting in the billions. And we getting absolutely none of these contracts. And we are the second largest contributors to each one of those budgets. Second largest. Why are we the second largest? Because we're the second largest population. So the second largest group of people that has to dump into the tax place. The only people that should be getting more contracts than black people in this country is white people. Why I say that? Because it's more white people dumping money into the tax pot. And that's how they go. It's like this. If you got 5 investors investing in a corporation, because these is public corporations that we are involved in. There ain't nothing else. And so they're all incorporated. So if you got 5 investors invested into a corporation, and one investor, we're going to say the white investor, they come, they say, we got 67%. And we come, we say, we got 14. Then Asians come, say, we got 5. East Indians say, we got 1. Arabs say, they got 1. The blacks are the second largest investors. How do the people who contribute 1 get more than the people who contribute 14? Don't make no sense, because the 14 is not doing business. We're not doing business. How many of us told these, and I get upset at these elected officials that's been allegedly representing us. I'm talking about I get upset. I also get upset when I hear people hold them to high esteem when they ain't did nothing but cut our throat, put us in abstract poverty, tricked us, and then told us somebody else was hurting us when they was the ones hurting us. I get very upset. But how does that happen? Because we not doing business. So black people, 2025, we doing business. Pastor Sewell leaving to go do business in Washington soon again. And guess what happened? The black communities dogged him out. He in Washington dropping off packets with contracts, national contracts, state contracts, fair election. And the black community dogged him and sided with the likes of Roland Martin. Sided with the likes of Whoopi Goldberg, who had the nerve to speak on blackness when she ain't been in a black room in 40 years. Ain't no room she be in black. When you start talking about pro-black, the only thing pro-black I know this lady to have is them ugly dreads, for real. And I'm just being honest. No disrespect to my people with dreads, but her dreads is ugly to me because her spirit is ugly. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to say that. So the next thing is the election. The sister talked to the federal government about, and see, that's what we bring to the table. We don't need signatures. We got people. We got live people ready to come forward. The sister called the feds today about, and they called her back because she made reports pertaining to them using her in election. So you see, we don't need affidavits when we got people that's making reports. They coming forward saying, I didn't vote. How they got me voting in the election. The feds called her back today. What would they do? We don't know. This is what I'm gonna say about the feds. When we make a report to the federal government about election fraud, if you would have called them and told them somebody across the alley had 10 kilos they would have took that case ASAP. You understand what I'm saying? They wouldn't have been telling you, hold on before you tell people we took the case. Let me say this. If they don't take the case and they don't arrest us, that means they covering up. Because if that's the case, then we filing fake, fraudulent claims to the federal government. You understand what I'm saying? I filed a federal complaint and saying they used me in the election and they registered me fraudulently. They ain't come back and arrest me, but they ain't do nothing either. So what that mean? That mean they overlook fraud. Because if that's the case, we filing false reports. When they look at our dates and what we tell them, we saying we didn't vote on this date, they registered on this date, and we did all that, and they go check and they verify. If they don't get back with you, that means they overlooking fraud. So that's what we saying. We ain't trying to say, don't tell nobody that we investigating you. No, what we saying is that if you don't do nothing, you overlooking fraud. And we know where you stand at. This Department of the Justice, this current Department of Justice. So I just want to say that. So we still waiting on, I talked to the U.S. Court of Appeals today, and the case is in. We waiting on, we got a letter ready. Malik wrote the letter out, so we will be able to sign a letter. We getting a petition signed by the residents in the county, in the state too, saying, look at the case that we got pending in the courts. We all have an interest in this case coming to fruition and manifesting and getting real light shed on this case. We got solid evidence of people that didn't vote in these elections, or they registering people in these elections. All that stuff about we need 100 and 1,000 people. Listen, when we look at a list, we see 10 people on that list that they cheated on. They ain't used no 10 people and only cheated with 10 people. That mean that whole list is bold. They loaded with fraudulent votes. It's time to go. It's what we gonna do about it. We ain't gotta be coming up there, oh, find 1,000, and the goalpost get big. No, when we find 10, we find 15, we find 20, that's enough for us to know they cheated in that election. If they find one, because guess what? Ain't nobody about to just cheat with one person. Ain't nobody about to cheat with 10 people, 20 people. That don't change nothing. So if you find 10, it's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. So I just wanted to say that. You got something you want to say? Oh, I want to talk about this too. We was downtown Tuesday, and it was a situation where we got a Hispanic city council member, and can't be mad at her. She going all the way to work for the immigrants, and that's what representation is. Now on our part, we saying, hey, this is a majority black community. We not about to sit up there on our dime and just represent a selected group of people. And this time, black people, we not siding with brown people, because they never sided with us. You know what she had the nerve to say? She said, we can't let them divide us. When did we ever get together? So look at this. No, because when blacks, when it's convenient for them, then they say they with us and we together. Because right now it's convenient in this majority black city for them to be with us, for us to push back with them. I'm proud of black people because black people stand out of it. That's not our mess. Guess what? Ain't no IC. The DEA and the FBI might be looking for my cousins and my brothers, but not the ICE. We ain't worried about them. You understand what I'm saying, Auntie? The DEA and the FBI might be looking, but not the ICE. Ain't gonna worry about them. He ain't walk right past them. So we ain't worried about that. That's not our problem. We got our own issues that we need to be addressing as a community. And that's what it is. Now, I want to say this. Trump recently, they tried to use the 14th Amendment. Did y'all know that? Yeah. Trump came on there. You know what Trump said? Trump said 14th Amendment was for ex-slaves. That's not for y'all. And now they not now. Now what do that mean? Look what this means. Look at this. Look at this irony. The 14th Amendment was ratifying ending of slavery. 13th came and didn't do the job. 14th Amendment had to come to naturalize. That was clearly pertaining to black people, for plain and simple. Okay, we fought, blood shed, all the whites and blacks on that part. So here it is now, immigrants coming into the country, and they saying they want to use the 14th Amendment. They like, look, this us. We're going to use something that y'all suffered, died, and fought for. We're going to use it. And the president said, y'all not going to use that. That's for, that's for exploitation. Now, black people, look at this. Black people don't even understand what he did by doing that. They don't even understand that. So what's happening is, just like the freeze that we keep talking about, the federal freeze, black people don't understand how those federal freezes help them. They like, how the federal freeze help them? Let me tell you how. Because you ain't been getting the money that's being froze. That's how it's helping you. You ain't been getting the money. That's how it's helping you. So, and it's stopping the money from stealing some money that you ain't been getting. So when somebody come up to you and talk to you about him stopping the federal freeze, first off, Section 8, we ain't had Section 8 open in Detroit. They won't even open the list here. So what y'all talking about here in Detroit? Section 8 lists don't even be open. Not only that, people have to go to different counties to get Section 8 because they won't open it here, and then they have to transfer their Section 8 here. So Detroit is talking about Section 8. That list never open. We ain't getting no Section 3. The government been robbing us out of block grants here for 60 years, out of HUD funding for 60 years, robbed us out of the ARPA funds, robbed us out of the hardest hit funds, CARES Act funds. What are y'all, what they freezing from us? What's being froze? So we got to just logically look at that. And when them nonprofits, they gonna be squeeze them out because they the ones been robbing us, setting up programs and stuff that don't benefit, don't help us do nothing. We done with that. We want tangible things with our block grants and our grant money and our tax dollars. We don't want to see no program. We want a gas station. We want a grocery store. We don't want none of them programs. So them the only ones being affected, people. Okay? So now we know it's froze. Let's work together to mechanize how that money flows and flow right. So if y'all got some questions, please ask the questions. Y'all got questions? Y'all got any questions? Any comments?
Okay, Advocate, can you explain, you said that blacks are the second largest group, but lately I've heard that the Latinos are like actually the second largest group. Could you explain that?
Glad you said that. When they classify Latinos, people got to understand it's multiple races can be Latinos. So they got us going against a whole race of people, saying that blacks and Latinos, that's not one race. You got Dominicans in there that look like you and I. You got Jamaicans in there, Cubans in there. You got Spaniards in there. You got Mexicans in there. So when they say Latinos, that's not a race. Just like Arab, not a race. It's language. Jews, not a race. So we got to understand what these terms mean as a community, because it's a lot of miseducation with those terms. So no, they may be the second largest, but that's not one race of people. That's Latinos. That's multiple races of people. Blacks, whites. When I say blacks, I mean that you got Haitians, Dominicans that look like you and I, and then you got Haitians and Dominicans that look like the brother right here and the sister right here, and then you have Haitian and Dominicans that look Hispanic, and you got just like in America. So that's.
Anybody else got a question? Okay.
The Lopez, the council person, right? You said she was fighting for her people, but she know they cheated for her friend who was city council person, because I know maybe we didn't know at that time, but I know at that time when they were running for city council, Lopez, that they have these IDs them Detroit City IDs, and when I was working a poll out in the Mexican community, that's what they were showing to vote, and that's not a legal ID, so that you can show those. You know, sometime every time there is a election here, they'll put up a billboard and say, "Get your Detroit ID," and those are you. What can you use that for? But they say that they can use them for check cashing, different things like that. And if the person is sitting there at the election polling site, they might think that that is an ID. So they were voted. I know when Lopez ran against, I can say Isaac. I know that he only lost by like 300 votes. And Isaac was a person that was everywhere. So, and she was new on the scene. So I know they probably cheated that time, this time, and probably the next time if we don't get it together.
So what's going on is that our city clerk is under corruption. We're gonna talk about that. What Mama Lori talking about is District 6 city council member. District 6 have went from majority black to majority Hispanic in the last 10 years, literally. And it's not, the numbers is not reported. If I take you on a tour, because I got a gentrification tour through that area, I'll show you all them communities through that district. I pretty much lived in every area, every community in District 6. Every community that I was raised in and I was reared in, every street that I stayed on as a kid that was majority black, they are majority Mexican, 100% right now to this day. And what they did is what Mama Lori talking about. Isaac Robinson was a white man that they cheated in that election. He ran against, they cheated him for Hispanic. You know why? What they was going to do over there, they had to have a Hispanic in there. They couldn't have a black or white in there because they needed, if they was going to bring in all these Mexicans in this area and take all these blacks' homes and fill them with Mexicans, they know that a white or a black person would have had probably a heart towards stopping that. White person would have been like, I'm not letting all these immigrants and these Mexicans come in. A black person would have probably had a heart like, I messed my people over, but I ain't gonna do all this. So they cheated in a Mexican in that area, and they made sure they strategically did that. And Tyrone Carter also lost by a slim margin in them elections. And that's why they was losing by a slim margin, because they was cheating them in. So right now, guess what? The black people who's trying to run for office over there, they can't win now. Too many Mexicans in the area now. They're going to overbeat them. They only got a certain pocket in their area of black people, and you got to go into that pocket. Rarely any white people over in that area, you know what I'm saying? So you got a certain pocket of black people, couple white people specked out in that area, and you got majority Mexican. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to be quiet because I know you got a question. Majority of them have to be illegal immigrants. They have to be. That's how they influxed over there so fast. I'm gonna tell you them houses over there that they gave to them. When we get this government together, them houses gonna be stripped from them people that unlawfully got them houses, and they're gonna be given to residents in here. It's no way, with all this homelessness that we face in Detroit, and I'm talking about homeless. Homelessness don't mean people sleeping under bridges. Homelessness means people sleeping on couches, people sleeping in cars, people sleeping in various different things. That homeless population is far more bigger than the ones that sleeping on bridges. There's no way with that going on that they should be giving our houses and our homes to no illegal immigrants. And black people here, y'all should be in an uproar. They always talking about what they doing in Chicago, what they doing in, quit telling me about what they doing in Chicago. You see what we doing here? We doing right here in Detroit. We working on that right here in Detroit. We saying let's come out here and let's stop that. Let's stop our council from doing this to us. So I just wanted to say that. You had a question? Yeah. Yes.
The only way you get solar energy is that they got a 30% subsidy from Biden's anti-inflation act. Duggan even said we couldn't have built it with that because it's the most inefficient energy source you have. And now they're taking over the neighborhoods. And once they do, they want to do this throughout the whole city. They've done 2 neighborhoods. But what they want to do is once they get them all built, which I don't think it's going to happen under Trump, but if they were to get them all built, they want to use the electricity to run the offices downtown. They're not going to give any of the electricity, yeah, all the new justification offices and stuff. The population isn't going to get any benefits in electricity. It's a ripoff.
Okay. I have 10 panels on my house. I was only supposed to have 8. They told me, I said, I'll put 2 more on there just in case that somebody buys the house and they have more electricity. When I first started with those panels, my electric bill was $8 a month. Now I'm paying $75 to $90 a month because our illustrious governor stuck her nose in it. And so now they're not using the electricity that I produce to pay my bill. It's only a fraction of it.
Let me ask you a question.
No, I'm in Taylor.
You got them on your house? You got them on your house? Do
I'm
you
sorry?
have them on your home?
Yes.
See, the odd thing is, if they was coming and putting them on the homes, we wouldn't have so much of a problem. What they doing is saying, we're gonna tear the homes down and move
Yeah,
y'all
no.
out to put them on. And we saying there's no necessity for them to do nothing.
Right.
On top of that, they have so much adequate space here to
Yeah.
put those
No,
panels.
you have no reason to
Yes,
tear
no
somebody's
reason.
home
Hey,
down.
thanks too, man.
Well, you can't buy a house for that.
They're not even giving them 90,000 here. They giving them some of these people got $14,000.
Oh my God.
The most they they can't do
That's
nothing with
crazy.
that.
You
A lot
can't
of them.
rent an
Now this
apartment
is
for
what
that.
they doing to them.
No.
They offering them market value, double market value. But what they don't know is that market value in those areas is $10,000, $12,000. So double that, you talking about under $30,000. Where you about to go buy a house at for $30,000? Them is shacks over there, but those are their shacks. You know what I'm saying? They own them. They don't have taxes on them. And if they had the proper grants allotted to them, they wouldn't be shacks. They're supposed to be built up and beautified, but they've been robbing them out of their resources and stuff so they can't be beautified. So now they say we're going to take them under eminent domain, under blight. We got to stop that. So do anybody got any more questions?
Question? That's not more. Mm-mm. No. Here. Does anybody know how to get in touch with the Immigrations Department? Darlene knows what I'm talking about, don't you, Darlene? When we were trying to go down to observe the ceremony, naturalization ceremony, remember? And we called and they would only respond to questions from that immigrants being an immigrant. But as an American citizen, they asked me for my credit card number. Yeah, because they had, I had to speak with an attorney, and the attorney was $49. And so they wanted a credit card number. Darlene know what I'm talking about. And but for immigrants, they just, they had the questions that, your status, if you want to know your status, 1, push 1. If, if it's related to this, push 2, and this kind of thing. But as an American citizen, they had no prompt. So when I called down to the court where they have the ceremony, they said that they have they couldn't give any information. They just provide the court the space for the ceremony to be held. And nobody, I mean, when I bring it up, nobody, it doesn't bother anybody, but it bothers me.
Yeah, you talking about the fact that on how, we are treated. I mean, and this is just in multiple ways that's going on. We just being, and that's because we have a group of people, and I'm talking about us as black people. If we not intellectually in a race, how can we get ahead? Intellect is not being promoted, not being revered, it's not even respected in our community. And I'm just being honest with you. I'm talking about throughout these parts right here. I was talking to a guy when we was at the Imagine yesterday. Me and Pastor Zoe had did a that wasn't no podcast, but it was a little speaking at the Imagine yesterday. And I was talking to this white guy, me and him walking, and we leaving. And he couldn't believe that the median income over here is $15,000 a year. He said, wow, man. I mean, he said, how can they make it? You know, you can't. And then you know what I told him? I said, with a median income of $15,000, ask yourself how many lawyers live over there? How many doctors live over there? How many engineers live over there? None. So this is why you got a community that's not going nowhere, running on a treadmill for real. Ain't nobody being educated. Everybody being misled. Propaganda, misinformation, disinformation. No right information. Absolutely. District 5 went from being a majority black district to a majority white district. So they used the same player in District 5. The east side, they are bringing in, they went from being majority black in a lot of areas, it's majority white, and they bringing Mexicans in. We have to know that the problem is blacks don't know how gentrification is happening. They think that it's a mysterious force that just rain down and comes through their community and it just gets them. Gentrification is here. It's not that. I mean, for real, most people, and we become so neutral to it and desensitized to gentrification that we talk about it like it's something over dinner. They gentrifying. I hear 20-year-olds using the term gentrification. I'm like, where you get that term from? You don't even really know. Yeah, it's gentrified over here. So we so desensitized to the word, we don't know how it's harming us. Now, look, gentrification is done by the local government. It cannot happen without your local government. Oftentimes, majority of the times, the local government is using the funds of the people that they're gentrifying to gentrify them. So that is the big shock of it. Now, the ultimate harm of it is that our voting power will be dispersed as black people. Remember, we only got 1,000 out of 108,000. And when you chop away at that and you separate and you scatter 14% out, it becomes dust. It's nothing. You scatter it out, you can't put no congressional members in, you can't put no state members in because we don't got a voting block anywhere to put nobody there. And that's what's scattering us out at, putting us 10% here, 3% here, 4% here, 2% here, 1% here, instead of 80%, 90%. There's nothing wrong with us having our own communities and flourishing our communities. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. You see Asians, when they come here, they mostly galvanize and they all move to a certain same area together. When the East Indians come here, they mostly galvanize, they move to the same area. The difference is nearly one of them will move to an area with us. They always in the area with white people, whether it's East Indians or it's Asians. They would never come to an area where it's black people. But when they spread out and the communities become majority East Indian, which ain't one yet, but majority Arab, guess what happens? They put their own city government in, they put their own council members in, and they put their own, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's only wrong with it when we saying we want to keep it like that. That's why somebody say, Ramon, how you gonna do this down here? They tell you can't say you want all Detroiters, nothing but black Detroiters to get the contract. I say, you know what? I say, I wish they say that. Because if they put a law out there and somebody challenge me, pack up every contractor. We going to Livonia. You don't got no blacks contracting with them. You ain't supposed to. You ain't put no dollars in their account. How you gonna contract with them people when you ain't put no money in their account? You know what I'm saying? And they understand that concept. But if they say something to us about doing that, then load up. Let's load up. Oh, y'all saying that we got to split it? Somebody got a right to somebody tax dollars? That's not how that go. It's like this. It's a corporation here. It's a tax pot. We put our money into a tax pot as a corporation, as a shareholders together. It should be regulated by the people that's putting their money into the tax pot, and the people that's putting their money in the tax pot should get first dibs to everything that's going on. They should be looked at first. That's just how that go, and that's how you grow, and that's just the right thing to do. I mean, it's like this. All us together, you're a carpenter, you're a plumber, you're an electrician, and we all and you a painter. We all putting our money into this pot together, and we need a painter, and I go look for a painter out here. Now, how that look to you? You putting your money in this pot. We need a painter. We're going to pay the money for a painter, but we go past you to get a painter. We go past you to look for a plumber. We go past you. That's insanity for real. So, yeah, it's insanity. Let's say this, okay? So we can understand. We was talking. Blacks is responsible for what's happening. That's what we gotta understand. The narrative that blacks is not responsible for what's happening to blacks. We must understand this. Oftentimes we put this somebody coming in on us. Ain't nobody coming in on us. People know who Mary Sheffield is. People know who this Coleman Young guy is. People know who Letitia Johnson is. People know who these people is. People know who Sherry Day Dagnago is. People know who Lamar Lemons is. But we got to stop saying that. That's them doing it to us. And it's us being ignorant. Nobody. See, and laws say ignorance of the laws is no excuse. But what if that applies in life too? So we got to move law out, because we only applying that in law. Ignorance of the law. How is we grown ups here in Detroit and expecting somebody to come in and regulate for us and do something for us? That's kids. Please come. The Department of Justice shouldn't have to come in and do nothing. We should, when we see somebody misappropriate, mismanage, and doing wrong with our resources, we do something. They get there when we get there. We ain't doing nothing. We like, kids, please come here, protect us, please protect us, please protect us. Then we let the people that's harming us, which is from our community, we let them convince us that somebody else harming. So the first thing we got to do is identify. I didn't do it. It ain't no racism. It's we in a community. like seriously. So now we got to deal with that stress while we in this condition. We got to, what we call, that's not what's going on. We in a black community. We've been in a black community all our life. We done had black teachers. All our neighbors been black. Our police been black. Our politicians been black all our life. And we've been getting robbed. And then I come up and I say, look, they had the money, lives, y'all. They said the white people was holding it back. They was going to get billions of our money. So then we still, now if we don't stop and say, wow, man, we've been tricked. We still going with the narrative. White people doing it. Stop, hold on. Hold on, I just showed y'all. You done lived in this community. You done had black council members all your life. Black police all your life. Teachers been black all your life. The neighbors been black all your life. They got all your money.
In
Let
the
me tell you
past.
something. They got all your money. Those people right there, unless they can come to us and tell us that they came in their house, tied them up, held them, I swear, unless they can tell all these blacks through all these black communities, they have to tell us and convince us in order for us to really embrace the racism theory, they need to be proved to us that white people came in the house before they got in office, held them down, and say, listen, y'all better not vote on none of these contracts. Other than that, we got robbed by our own people. And, yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought y'all could hear me. Oh, it's being recorded. Is that what it is? Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, you just cut your nose off to spite your face. And the thing about it is, you're participating in the gentrification of your city. Now you have no social power, economic power, or political power. Because, like you said, now that it's been gentrified, they're not, you may, like, for instance, like I've seen a lot of council people go out their way to cater to other communities that's not their own. And then the same community that you're catering to, once they get the population, they're not voting for you no matter how much you kiss they butt, how great you are to them. They are for the social, economic, and political power of their particular ethnicity. And like Brother Ramon was saying, there's nothing wrong with that because it makes sense. It makes sense to rally and galvanize for your own. And because we always got to realize.
What's your question, my brother?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just.
No. What's your question?
I think it was more so a response. I got kind of threw off once he sent me the mic. But here you go.
My question, right quick. Now, can you tell me about Duggan? You know how I feel about him. The land grab under the land bank that he has. Have you heard about that? With the LLC or the nonprofits that he established to get it through the land bank, he has a lot of property that he has once he leaves the city of Detroit.
What you answered, I remember. Sorry.
I mean, the land, I was talking about the land bank. The land bank is established by the city council. It's 6-3 vote. Ain't no state law mandate that they do that. So I was talking to Regina, me and Regina Ross was together today. And she say, what if they say, what I'm going to do about the land bank? I say, you simply tell them this. I'm 1 vote to cancel the land bank out of 6 that we need. So you got 1 to cancel. And that's simple as that. The land bank is simple as that. It's another entity that we think as a community that that's raining down on and operating. What's happening is our city bring the land bank in order to do as a vehicle to harm us, take property from us, get property from us, transfer property to different people. And there was a way that they can do it without having their hands directing and they telling people that's not us. If you appoint somebody over something, then you are responsible for that in which you appoint that person over. That person that you appoint can't do nothing without your permission. Period. So if the land bank, whatever the land bank is doing, the city council is in agreements with it in conjunction, in collaboration with the mayor. That's why right here, you got an MOU. Look at this, look at this. City of Detroit has engaged the land bank to perform certain services for the city, which is the DLBA is well suited to address instruction powers granted under public to meet. This is a memorandum of understanding with them right here on this page. And it's Tate, James Tate. So if you had a city council saying, me as a city council, it ain't even going to come through. It's no, 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 no with every public authority that exists. And they saying we can't cancel them out because they got bonds issued under them unlawfully. So if we do away, guess what? Bonds was issued illegally. So we're going to be able to do away with the authorities, and we're going to be able to do away with that debt because we're going to show that that debt was issued illegally on us. So we do not have to be honored, to honor a debt that was not brought to us.
So I remember the question. I was going to say, like, the prior discussion, what would be the incentive of a politician whom happens to be black to disenfranchise the majority of their constituents, their voters, and then favor another particular group that's of a different ethnicity that's not the majority of their voting base. Like, why would they do that? Why
Let me say this. This is where we going wrong at. This is not about race. So we gotta take race out of this. Cause it's like this. If you and him decide y'all gonna run a scam on us, that's a black person and a white person that's decided they're gonna do something to us. That's not about race. And you and him get together and you say, listen, you go talk to them. And then you say, look, you go talk to the white people because they gonna trick me. He say, you go talk to black people because you can trick them. We gotta remove that out of there. This like this. If a civil war broke out right now, right? This is no lie. It's a lot of white people that I'm gonna be fighting with, and it's a lot of black people that I'm gonna be beating them down. You understand what I'm saying? And it's gonna be black and whites on one side, and it's gonna be black and whites on another side. And one side gonna represent righteous, and the other side gonna represent unrighteousness. And so that's what we gotta understand that's going on. It's not about these people running plays on us, man. White and black people running plays together. It's green. Yeah. Anybody got any more questions? Oh, sorry about that.
I just want to speak about District 6. You said that it expanded within 10 years.
Yeah.
I stayed over there for a year, and I seen the expansion within 3 months. When I first moved over there, the billboards was in English. 3 months later, they became Spanish. They allowed to have chicken coops, cornfields, and when I say it's so heavy over there, it's so heavy over there to the point they brought it to the news, and now we can have chickens and things like that. But this it happened after the immigrants.
Could you speak on what happened with you and Andre Gilbert, please, about the election and stuff, please? Would you speak on that, please?
When he's
What you wrote to him in the letter. Yeah. She wrote a response when she's one of the voters that they used in the election that she didn't vote. So she went to the election department and told them, I didn't vote in these elections right here. I don't know nothing about voting in this election. So the deputy clerk, I seen him in the hallway. She wasn't there. So this is their game. When they knew we was watching them and we was on them, Now they don't show whether you voted absentee or in person. They keep it blank. So if you show up saying you ain't vote, they gonna automatically say you came in. So they keep that blank. They don't put the absentee out there no more because they'll know, oh, I ain't vote. So they keep it blank. So if a person find out that they used them and show up saying I ain't vote, they gonna say, yes, you did. You came in and voted, to keep the absentee thing. So that's the purpose of that. So what they did with her, and I'm gonna let her speak. So he comes back. The first election, they couldn't say that because they had already fabricated and said she voted absentee already. But that election, they had started employing that measure to not say nothing. So he said she voted in person in that election. So could you read what you said to him, please?
Yeah, January 14th, he said that I came in and voted. January 15th at 9:47 a.m., I sent the email, voter fraud, Mr. Andre Gilbert, you are alive from the pit of hell. From the pit of hell, there is no way you could tell anybody that I walked in and voted. My vote has been stolen. I never walked in nowhere for the August 2024 election, nor the 2020 election. And before you open your corrupted mouth and say anything pertaining to my comment publicly, research first. I am the evidence, and my word is against y'all officials until I'm proven wrong, and I will fight for my identity back. This is only the beginning.
She went to the feds. She filed a complaint with the feds as well on stolen identity. And as I say, we ain't gonna play that game with the Department of Justice. If people calling them and saying that they didn't vote in these elections and they filing false reports, they'll be charging us. They just go away and don't say nothing. No, what you got? And you show them, and then they never ever talk no more. So that's the state of that. You had a question?
You know, another thing that I've noticed, it seems like, for the most part, they're having people vote that don't typically vote. Because I have a lot of friends that don't participate in the voting process because of the corruption, of them feeling, the presidential or the local election is rigged or set up in some type of way. And it's like, for those who vote on the regular, they were more than likely, they probably assume will be on top of it. So the average person that's like, I'm not gonna even vote, they probably feel that they're not even checking for it. So I think that's how they're, using that.
I mean, we know that's how they use, and that's in our case. That's what they doing. Is using people that don't vote. So that's their pattern, is to use the people. But the thing is, it's more strategic. They don't use just anybody that don't vote. I got a cousin that been living in Detroit for 48 years, and he ain't never voted, and they won't use him. You know why? Because he's stable. He's been living in the same house since he was a kid. See, that stability. They looks for instability is in their project. You got to be unstable, on the move, going and going and going. Then they pull you and put you on the list. And I think they go back probably about, if you ain't voted in 10 years, they pretty much, determine that you're not coming back to them polls. So they'll start using you. So they looking for people who ain't voted in pretty much 6 years or more, no elections, and people who ain't never voted, and they popping them. I got a list right here. I got a voter list right here that we obtained from the city of Detroit. And I was going through it today, and the last 2020 list, we found out that 10/9/2020 was a massive voter registration day. I'm talking about hundreds, over 100,000 people was registered on that day, allegedly on that day alone. Now, one of my friends, 10/9/2020, massive voter registration, 1 month for the election in 2020. Boom! Everybody decided they want to go to the polls that day and register to vote, allegedly. But my friend showed up on that on that register that day. I know he didn't register, he moved away. So that's how I know them people fake. I was going through a list today. I see 10/10/2000. Now, if I punch this list up right now, and you will see so many people with 10/10/2000 voter registration. They showing, now guess what we know? Everybody that showed up on this new list last month from 10/10/2000, they all suspect. They all suspect. Everybody from 10/9/2020, 10/10/2000. Now people like, that's 2000, that's 24 years ago. They got them still voting right now in this election. I'm talking about, let me show. Come here for a minute. I'm gonna show you this real quick. Just want you to see it real quick. So we gonna make sure we gonna compel the FBI to do their job. That's what we gonna do. We gonna compel them, cause you coming out here. If you'd have called them and told them your neighbor got 10 kilos, they would have had people out there ASAP on you. Talking about some, don't tell nobody we taking the case. Take the case. They would have flew you in for that case. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop playing them games. You're going to overlook voter fraud was creating crime, because when you steal elections, you cheat, you take resources, you create crimes and stuff, but you're going to go at people for crime. That's what I told Agent Barker. I was assigned to an agent too, sister, and I was reported. I say, man, they registered me to vote. I was gone. I can prove it. All you got to do is use your computer and go over there and find out everybody who moved away who's still voting here. That's all you got to do. You got all the evidence right there. You know what she told me? She told me that same thing. Don't tell nobody that we're taking the case. I said, if I'd have told you guy had 20 kilos, Agent Barker, you would have been out here ASAP. You'd have had people, you'd have had wires ran, you'd have had everything set up. You would have been ready to go. You wouldn't have told me to send no email to you about nothing. You feel what I'm saying? Nothing. We talking about somebody stealing an election, stealing billions of dollars from people. They talking about send you an email. But anyway, I mean, seriously, that's how they do it. They send us an email. You go tell them, say, hey, man, this guy got guns. Now, where? Where you at? Would you come down? Would you be willing to wear a wire? Would you be willing to work with us? Would you be willing to do all this? Come on now. So we got to stop that. We're gonna get that together. We're gonna compel the FBI in order to do their job. We're gonna let you overlook our community and this cheating. And it's just not going on in Detroit. It's going on in all these communities. I proved that they doing it in come here for a minute. I want to show you this, Mama Lori. You see that 10/10/2000? Okay, so watch this. 10/10/2000. You see that? 1940. 10/10/2000. See 10/10/2000. See that? This is it. They so crazy on us. They doing anything. I'm telling you, they doing anything. They done got so stupid and so wide open with this, and you know, a guy told me that the biggest sucker in the world was an overconfident player. He said the biggest fool in the world was an overconfident player. They so overconfident with us being stupid, it's crazy. And I'm just being honest with y'all. So let's catch them, because they caught in every capacity, with every. I mean, it was just like, you know, when they want to investigate something, they ain't gonna tell you to send them an email when they interested. That ain't how they do. They coming all out. But that was my problem with it. It just was one of the methods. It was a less official method to deal with such a severe case. That was my problem with it.
Well, you know, I'm not all that sophisticated with my computer because I'm older, so it's hard for me. But I kind of like the idea of emailing things because you have evidence with the date and everything of what was said and stuff. And in this day and age when people, you know, twist things around, you have proof. Even inventions. If you, take a video and show people how it works and everything and email it out, that's a copyright right there.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with. I just got the reason why I'm speaking is because I just got there. Where
Email.
I don't mind sending email because I'll have proof of what was said.
I wasn't necessarily, Auntie, saying that we got a problem with that form of communication. What I was saying is that when you're dealing with an email in such a serious matter, Auntie, that's not the way that they operate when they investigating serious matters. That's not the way they operate. That's That's when they say send them an email, that means that that's how less serious they take your situation. If she called them and said, as I said, it was 20 kilos, they wouldn't have told her to send no email. They'd have been knocking at her door. They'd have been like, meet us around the corner. Wait this wire tie, put this on, do this. I'm gonna record you, I'm gonna sit down with you. Could you meet me? Could I come in the door? Could I come in the back door? That's how that would have been to do that. Not, just send us an email. So that's all I was saying. I'm not saying that email is not a good way to communicate, Auntie. Anybody got any more questions? Okay, thank y'all for coming out. Anybody want to participate? We would be collecting signatures. I don't know if y'all Detroiters do. You got something to say? Any Detroiters that's in here, I want y'all to sign my petition. I got a petition paper. If you're from Detroit, I want you to sign this petition, City Council. Oh, thank you. I'll get 'em. We need 500 to get elected, but we're gonna collect 1,000 because we already know they're gonna be playing. We pretty much would be able to handle that. That's kind of like, because one brother, he gonna get 300. We pretty much be able to handle. We gonna definitely need help to when we get out here in the community, and what we want to do is just get the name out, because people they go by images and they go by names. We want them to see a name and continue to see a name where when they get to the polls, they remember that name. And then this time we want them to remember a good name, which is gonna be my name. And I'm not saying that, man, because I'm the handsomest brother in the world. I'm just playing. But I'm not saying I'm saying that because the platform that we got is selfless. It's totally about helping our community out. What we be able to do is unparalleled to anything that ever been done. The bar's so low, so it ain't gonna take much. We outdo what the prior elected officials did in 50 years in two months. That's how low the bar is. Yeah, the bar's so low. You go build one development project in District 7, beat out every one of them in 50 years. That's how low the bar is. Open up put a gas station in your name, guess what? Beat out everything they did in 50 years. They be like, you see that bar's so low? They're just with nothing. And we can do that 1,000 times a year. So we gonna show people that we never ever had a representation. We never had a black city council member. We never had a black mayor. I don't support Coleman Young. I know my elders be ready to beat me up every time I talk about Coleman Young. And in the history, I'm gonna be one of the people that's gonna help draft up our history as black people. I'm gonna make sure that I'm present in order to report facts within our history. They're gonna be remembered for what they is. As long as we continue to glorify Coleman Young, we continue to be victimized and to be so far off base. When people in our community understand that was a bad mayor, that they know Dennis Archer was a bad mayor. But let me tell you this. It's things Dennis Archer did as a mayor that I can tangibly touch that I can't touch with Coleman Young. I'm gonna give y'all an example. I'm about to give you one. Look at you, cause see this this one right here. She gonna beat me up because I'm talking about Coleman Young. She said, "Give me one." Let me give her one. Okay. Dennis Archer orchestrated the casino deal, and right now today, one of the largest revenue streams that comes into Detroit comes from the casino. One up. So just imagine. Duggan, Kwame, Coleman, all the deals that they orchestrated, nothing is coming from it. The deal Archer did with the casino, we get $150-some million a year coming from that. That's one of our biggest revenue streams.
They didn't want Cole to have a casino because he's the first one who
Go ahead.
Coleman made sure that when all those racist police was in the city of Detroit, he got rid of the dogs that was named after Martin Luther King. That he got rid of the dogs that and all of the other racist stuff.
See what I started?
If you didn't want to abide by the rules that I'm imposing on you right here in this city, then you need to go across 8 Mile and get a job. And that's what a lot of them did. So one, that was it. Because I know when I grew up on the west side of Detroit, how stress used to mess with us. I grew up on Linwood and Davidson area. You got 3 schools that get out at 3 o'clock. Durfee, Central, and Roosevelt. How you gonna tell us we can't walk in a group of more than 5? When 3 schools
Here you
getting
go.
out.
Here you go. Okay, so let me say this. I want to say this.
Get rid of stress.
He did, but see, this is the thing.
They terrorize my neighborhood.
When I say Coleman Young wasn't a good mayor, I didn't say he didn't do things that benefited the community. He did get rid of stress. He did give blacks jobs, but he didn't give us contracts. That's why the people who got those jobs, children and grandchildren, lost their houses eventually and don't have nothing right now because they didn't be empowered through contracts. So he gave jobs but gave away contracts. Contracts is empowering. So that's why I go wrong. Look at this. All them lots downtown. They say Coleman said come through and get them, and black people didn't want to get them. That ain't, they could have got, he could have made sure, let me say, if as a mayor, you can make sure that things go to your constituents. There's no such thing that you going, as a mayor, as an executive, as a CEO, that you going to make sure that something go outside your constituents. So to me, as long, the generation, my generation and under me, we going to know the truth about these politicians. There's no way our community, he had a budget in the 80s, bigger than Duggan's. And then look at this. People tell me all the time, listen, man, the parks in our community in the 80s was crack houses. It was crack dens. The parks right now, I can attest, they look better than they ever did. I'm talking about half the park. Okay, hey, Mama Lori, the parks looked like crack houses in the 80s. We had no rims, no swings, no nothing. So you understand? He had a bigger budget in the 80s when the money goes further in the 80s. He talking about $5 billion in 1985. Come on now.
So what type of contracts that he necessarily
Everything they doing now, everything now. This ain't just started. This been going on. All cities got to have multiple things to contract with. It just has to have it. It's there.
So did it go to the people that was like outsiders?
It went to the same people Duggan giving them to. See, people don't understand. Coleman, Duggan, and all of them is from the same cloth. You know what I mean? Same cloth. No, it's so many of them. It's so many of them. They everywhere. It's so many of them. You got to understand this going on. This packet right here is every day. This going on. This go on 4 days a week, 5 days. 4 days a week, 52 weeks. And they vote all day on just contracts going everywhere. Look, Romulus, Detroit, what is that right here? Grand Haven, Grand Lodge. You see, they going everywhere. Just money like this, going everywhere. Money just leave. Every time a contract goes to a company outside of this city, that's somebody being denied an opportunity here. Especially if it's something. Now, me as a city council, if it's a company here that can do the work, they will be recipients of the contract. And listen, this is a $600,000 printing contract on here. Do you know somebody know how to print? Okay. So, listen, $700,000 rent to renovate an office space. $700,000. $2.5 million to plant trees. That's when I started today. I said that. Yeah. So listen. Who told people that you can be a millionaire planting trees? 3 contracts on here for $2.5 million a piece planting trees with our tax dollars. Who taught anybody that? Who said, man, you could be a millionaire if you learn how to plant trees through a contract? That's what got to be taught to our young people. So that's a false narrative that we can't do these contracts, because when you got a righteous person in there, they gonna go find people. Me, I'm gonna go into the community before when this come through the desk, because this is how this come. If you win as a city council, this comes. You got to vote on this. This is what you do all day. This is what people should be talking about who's running for council. If you do this all day, why do people talk about everything but this? They talk about everything but this. They say, oh, I want to do this for, man, you trying to get to the money. Because you can't, I told a guy the other day, I say, listen, brother, you know you can't do nothing without money, so quit telling me what you want to do. You want to get to the money, right? Let's just talk about it. Let's just be honest and tell the people. That, look at it.
Well, wait a minute, where's the thing at? He went, when they was getting ready to build Joe Louis and the Renaissance, they told him that we can't find no black contractors. They said, what you mean? You can't find no black contractors? He said, y'all better find me some. The lady who was the chief his chief of staff opened up her church. She called everybody in the city. They sat there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Came out with black contractors. So he said, because if you don't find me none, y'all gonna have a big ass hole right down there. Who built them? Who built the Renaissance? My girlfriend's daddy got one of the biggest contracts for the city of Detroit to demolish all of the buildings and stuff that was down there. He became a millionaire. Her brothers would get the bricks and sell the bricks after that. Each one of them children had a Cadillac from making money from building from a contract that was a black man had. Now the other man, the one said he ain't gonna make no more millionaires, no more black millionaires. Remember that?
Now listen, let me tell you this. And I gotta say, I gotta respond to you now. This is why I said, this is why I don't do this. This is why I don't talk about it. They run me out of town. I'm gonna show up with the young people, Mama Lord. The young people, we ain't run. Nah, Coleman Young gave them a major tax break to build that multi-million-dollar tax breaks and tax incentives, the same way that the current mayor do with the Gilberts. So the same way he did with Chrysler, he did with GM, he did the same play. Honestly, if I was alive and up and running, I was alive, but I was a kid. But if I was an advocate right now, I'd be going against Coleman Young and everything he was doing. I'd be going against Kwame Kilpatrick. And no, Coleman Young would be way more dirty. He'd be trying to get you killed. Because see, what I found out about a lot of black people, for real, what I found out a lot of black people, they don't know how to hold their emotions when they get challenged. That's what happened with Kwame. So he'd be trying to do something crazy because he was totally corrupt politician. Tom knew he was corrupt. Yeah, Tom knew he was corrupt. He didn't give a lot of contracts. If he would have gave a lot of contracts to black people, he never would have got in trouble. You see, if you split them contracts up, there's no way you can get in trouble. I turn $50 million that you might give to landscaping. I have 100 companies that I'm giving $500,000 to every year. You ain't gonna even be able to talk about these favoritism. Nobody. No, listen. We wrote something, Sister T. What did we write on that thing? It was something we wrote up. Oh, let me read it. This is our policy. That was me and when I wrote this to I met with a sister that's been cheated in elections today. She's been losing the city council election by 50 votes. And she's been winning, but they've been cheating her. I met with her today. She's going to follow the policies and the platform that I'm going to be following, which is the policy and the platform for the people. But we came up with something. I want to get it. It was a term. Oh, here you go, right here. And this going to be our term right here. Yeah, let me see if this on here. On there. Detroit. Oh, yeah. This district right here. Yeah, she stay a mile away from here. Yep.
We didn't know how they were shooting at that time. If we had verified those voters,
Absolutely.
we would have known. Because she only lost, they said 6. I said it was 67 votes. They said 6. And we stayed down there the whole time.
Yep, 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days.
We stayed in TCF 3 days counting fraudulent votes. We ain't know we was counting fake votes. And we ain't know that at the time. If I would have knew that, exactly, we would have got it. We ain't know. Yep, Melanie. See, we already got about 30 of them votes on her. That's why we be telling that council member that he need to step down. We got fraudulent votes.
He had the nerve to call himself run for mayor.
So I can't find it, but this is overall our concept is that no person gonna have exclusive rights to the contracts here. No corporation, no company, no group will have exclusive rights to these contracts. All of us putting our money into a pot. It's like this. I was telling people about a production contract with Shane Park. It's the company that's been having the same production contract with Shane Park probably since Coleman or Kwame Kilpatrick. Over 20 years, they got Shane Park. Guess what? That's not about to happen. Every 2-3 years, there should be a new group being trained to contract with those facilities. They multimillionaires off that. And guess what? Right now, they think that they got a right to our contract. They done had it so long, they got a nerve. That's why I say, bring these people forward, man. Man, you must be a 10-foot tall guy to think you got a right to our contract, man. Who you think you is? So we gotta strip these guys because they done got comfortable. Payne Landscaping. Payne, under me, Payne would not get another landscaping contract. He done been enabled to build companies, restaurants off them. See, this is seed money. If I give you a contract, and you a contract, and all y'all got $2 million in the contract, y'all do the contract, I can come to y'all and say, hey, man, let's do a development project over here. You say, bet, let's put this up to do this and do that. So this enable you to have seed money to do other things that you need to do, not just what you're doing. So that's what we need. We need seed money. In order to grow things, you need money. In order to grow essential businesses, you need big money, not no $20,000. Not no $30,000. You're not opening up no business. That is gas money in 2025. That's gas money. You're not about to bubble up. You're not about to open up no business. You're not about to grow. Only thing you're going to do is pay your bills with that money, for real. You're going to get a couple good things, and you're going to be right back broke. That's what happened during the pandemic. They gave everybody $20,000, every other person, $20,000 grant, and nobody got nothing. Nobody got nothing. You know why? Because it wasn't enough to get nothing. People start going. I seen more pop-up shops than ever in the last 3 years. I'm talking about it went, huh? And see, yeah, because halls and boutiques, beauty salons, those are non-essential businesses. They don't grow. And that's all that money enables you to do is get non-essential businesses that don't grow. That's why you right now got all these buildings that was non-essential businesses that stop. Guess what? If you ride down the street right now, the essential business all bubbling, you can walk in all of them and you can't get in line. That's a gas station. They all turning over right now. It's Friday night. Every one of them on every street, ain't none of them suffering. You got to go in line. You be like, dang, this boy. Every one of them right now. People don't even know that nothing turns over more in Detroit like these 100 and some gas stations. In 24 hours. You look at corporations, you look at all this stuff. Them gas stations is bubbling. They're essential. People is going to them. They need a convenience. They convenience stores. They serving people food. They serving everything people need in them communities. And I'm going to say this, and then we can wrap it up. The reason that we don't own none is because we don't have money. We don't, and we don't have money is because we've been getting robbed of our money. It's not because blacks are lazy. It's not because we don't support each other's business. We don't have the businesses to support each other's business. This is a world that we live in. I'm not going out my way to go to your gas station because you black. I'm telling you that. When I pull up at a gas station, I do not care what color the owner is. I'm going in here to get what I'm trying to get out this gas station. I don't care who owns this gas station. It's convenient, it's here. And that's how most people is in this world. So getting that, oh, you don't support, that's not what it is. We don't got the gas stations conveniently located, or we don't got essential businesses located so people that can support it. You can't expect people to go out their way in this world. It's a fast world. People got a lot to do and everything. So what's happening is we not there. Put the essential businesses in these communities, and people going to go there. It's not about black or white. It's about what's essential and what's needed. I stay on E. I'm on E right now, like I do. I stay on E. So when I leave here, I have to go to the gas station. That's essential. I do not have to, tomorrow I'm supposed to get a haircut. I don't have to get a haircut. If I decide I don't want to get a haircut, but guess what? I got to go out here and put some gas in that car. You understand? And that's what we have to do as a community. We have a population, the second largest population in this country. Black people do. But we don't have nobody in our population servicing us. So other people that have a less population than us have this whole customer base that's unchartered. It's like, wow, they ain't there. Ain't nobody there. So everybody can feed off our customer base because we don't got people there with the essential business in order to service our customer base. That's why I say this all the time. The American dream is black's nightmare. Come in and go to our communities and open up businesses in our communities. That's the American dream. Why do they hear that and why do they pursue that? Because they know that we not there with the businesses in our community. They already got the memo. They all got the memo. We got to get the memo that we got to put those businesses in our community. So I don't deal with nothing but essential business. I don't want no grants. I would not approve a grant for a boutique. I would not approve a grant for a hair salon. I would not approve a grant for a salon. I would not approve a grant for a little small store. The only grants I'll be approving is for straight up essential turnkey businesses, and that's the only way that people gonna grow. So if y'all don't got any questions, thank y'all for coming too. Yep.